Alright, we're getting there. Let's open Godot. Figure out what's going on out here. Alright. Oh shoot, I didn't find the cough button. I needed to find the cough button. Let's find the cough button before I actually get started. Let me just Google that. Not that I really need it today, but I really might sneeze. I tend to sneeze sometimes. That does happen. Settings, audio, enable push to mute. Gotcha. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. Oh, here we go. I see it's push to mute for everything. Interesting. What the heck is the push to mute button? Is it this one? No. Okay, we're just going to figure that out. One sec. Hotkeys. That's what I thought. Push to mute is unbound. We're going to do the tilde? Does that work? I don't know. That's not doing anything. Oh, right. The mic. Not the desktop. The mic is what I need to actually be muting here. What am I doing? What am I doing? And do like 10 milliseconds so that it doesn't like click. Is that still not working? Okay, it works. No, it doesn't work. Never mind. Did I not save my key binding? Well, the key binding is there. Well, I guess I'll just move the microphone away and figure out that later. Alright, that's fine. Oh shoot, I didn't download anything. No. Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. Let's listen to the Black Dresses today. That's what we're going to start with. Oh, we can do some echo jams. We'll do that later. I'm probably going to get freaking copyright striked off the face of the earth pretty soon here if I keep doing this, but Black Dresses should be fine. Plus, they're wonderful. Wonderful. I'm going to do this one. I'm also going to turn that up a little bit because I noticed on my last stream it was really low, even though, yeah, something around there is probably fine because not everyone's piece. Not everyone's favorite thing, this one. Alright, there we go. And video cat. We all did it. We got there eventually. Alright. I'm also going to turn it down a little bit for myself so I can hear myself think a little bit better. There we go. Alright. What are we doing? So I decided not to do actually hats because I forgot that really what I wanted to do was a few juice things, which I know this is like really early to add some juice stuff, but I think it's important right now. So let's see. I want to squish. I gotta squish the cats. That's step number one. Death. Death needs to be a thing. I'm gonna put that in, I don't know, over here somewhere. I'm not gonna do screen shake either. Maybe I'll experiment with screen shake. But I think just messing with the sprites should probably be enough. All right, that's enough to start with. I wanna get started on enemy movement here. So a little bit of. So first of all, the bump takes a little too long still. So let's get that before I forget. Where's the bump component? Eh. Finding these things is going to be annoying eventually, but that's okay. Ah, that's right, it's in combat. Duh! Alright, so I guess a bump can be like... gonna be 0.28 seconds. That should be a good number. That feels nice. That feels nice in my brain. Alright. That's about the pace I'm trying to get at here. Alright. Oh, enemy movement. So on the player, we have an input mover component, which moves the joystick on the actual basic mover component. So on the enemy, already has that basic mover component. So all it really needs is a chase. We'll call it a chase. Chase Y mover component. I'm just gonna not do that because I did that wrong. Whatever. Alright. Put that into components. Alright, what are we doing here? So eventually I'll get this pattern into my head. But let me look at the movement one. I don't think I need the signal component yet. I might end up deleting this, but that's a distraction, I guess. These. I believe this is all I really need to copy. Eventually I'll remember that how to do that. But for now, whatever. So we need a mover. Oops. That needs to be a component. And so really what we want here is a collision area, like a detection radius, I guess, and a yeah, just a detection radius really, and then just like some speed, I guess. Well, speed goes on the mover component, so yeah, we just need a detection radius. Sweet. We can change the type of this then to a node 2D. And then area 2D. Collision shape 2D. That's gonna be a circle. For now, I don't know, maybe later on we'll do like visual detection in a different way. Like I might make a component that's like a... Ooh, targeting component. Oh my god. Why do I always have to overcomplicate things? Alright, we're gonna do a targeting component. That's what we're gonna do. That's gonna be great. We're gonna overcomplicate this and have a blast doing it. We're gonna do a basic targeting component to start with. Actually, we're just gonna do targeting component because that's gonna be a base class anyway. And then we'll give it a basic targeting component so that we can just swap that out if we ever want to. And now we just gotta actually make that component. Alright, so we're gonna add a node 2D player, actually targeting component. I think at some point I'll want to add some like, hey, choose player or choose enemies, but for now we'll just choose player all the time. And then this is gonna extend component. It's so weird how you can like extend component, which extends node, but then also just put it on a node 2D. I mean, like, technically that's true, but it's weird. It's a weird, weird behavior. So this is going to be the thing that actually has the area 2D. Okay. Actually, this is going to be a... basic targeting component, I guess. And we're gonna add a basic targeting component. Create, and then I'm gonna go back to targeting. I gotta close all this stuff. It's just too many files open. I don't like it. Where did I put the targeting? Where'd that go? Oh, that went over here. Why'd that go over there? That's weird. That's not where that's supposed to be. Uh-oh. Retro Raggy. Oh, chase mover component? Yeah, this can be unbound for now. I don't know what that even means. And then this needs to have the actual basic targeting component on it. And let's make this abstract, why not? Yeah, okay. And then if I look in, let's attach the chase mover component again. I might want to put these in different things too, but we'll see. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just do this. That's fine. And then this is going to be just area 2D. Dot connect on body entered. Other node 2D. If other is what? Yeah, it's gonna be a node 2D. If other. If not other is entity and or other is parent. I think I do actually need a friend or foe indicator now. I need a team component on entity. It doesn't necessarily make sense for a treasure chest to have a team. So theoretically, that could also be in its own component, but I think that's a little bit, too far for me, even for me. So we're gonna do team. We're gonna put team on here, and we're gonna actually export it. I think I want to add a component. I want to do a. Is that in game data? Nah, we're just gonna do an enums thing. Did I already make an enums thing? Yes, I did. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Teams. None. Player. Enemy. That's fine for now, and we can figure that out later. Team. Of course. No, yeah, it is actually multiple. Okay. Cool. So it's by default no team, and then we can change what team it's on. So this one's gonna be on team player, and this one's gonna be on team enemy. Rad. And then really, I don't even need to worry about whether or not we're targeting, because really we're just gonna do I mean, I guess theoretically we could target anything even if it's on our team later on. So I guess we just report that we've entered a team, or an entity has entered our range. Is what I guess what I'm trying to say here. Script, no, jeez, signal on. We're gonna go with discovered. We're gonna name them some cute names. So then, yeah, we're just gonna do that, and I also need to connect to Area 2D body exited. This is far too component based. It sickens me, but it's also cool. I'm very mixed on this. I'm gonna do the same check here, and then just emit the things, I guess. I believe this gives you the entity, right? Yep, okay. So then you just translate that. And I think we're actually going to keep a... We're going to be a little bit extra special with this, and we're going to add a overridable function. Right? Is that what we should do? No, I'm gonna do it a little dumber. I'm gonna do acceptable entity types. Array of GD script. Because I'm just like that, I guess. If other dot... What am I doing here? Oh, right, no, it's going to be acceptable entity teams. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm here. We're doing it. Other team. There we go. And then we do all this. We emit the discovered and we add it to the list. We're gonna have to figure out how to deal with this when they die, but we'll figure that out a little bit later. I think we can connect to a signal, an entity signal here, and then we can just add an entity die thing. Possibly? Possibly. I don't know why there isn't just a remove function. It's literally the most common thing I do here. Probably not the most efficient thing to do, but whatever. Okay. So the only other thing I might want to add to this, if I can remember, is later on I might want to add a signal to entity. Because I don't really think it's ever going to make sense to target a dead entity, but I'm not entirely certain, I suppose. This should do. So that's the basic targeting component. Or the base targeting component, and now the basic targeting component. I just need to make sure I remember to do this. And then set current targets. No, sorry. Acceptable target and entity targets teams. Yeah, there we go. And this is going to be... I could also export that, but I don't really care to right now. So we're just going to do that. Yeah, if there's more teams than just player and enemy, or even just more than player, enemy, neutral, nothing, then yeah, player, enemy, neutral, nothing is probably about as far as I'll be able to get with this one. And then beyond that, I might actually add a friend or foe component so that we can do things like get all enemy teams and things like that. But this will be fine for now. So that sets that, and then this is in there so it only grabs player when the player enters. And now that that's targeted, we can go to chase mover component. And then we don't even need to do anything in post ready to respond to those events. We can just do a... We'll do physics... I don't know. We've been doing physics process all along, so let's just... I can never make up my mind which one of those to use. It's a dumb problem to have, but... So basically we just need to grab... Basically, if there's any targets... One sec, coffee break. Very watery coffee break. If targeting dot current targets is empty, return. I don't think we need I don't think we need delta here. Then we're just going to grab the first one. What are we going to do with it? I want to zoom in a little bit for my old man eyes. So it's really just we got to find the direction, right? Yeah, we just gotta get the direction and then set the joystick to that, right? Mover joystick equals parent global position minus, right? No, target global position minus parent global position. Normalized. Okay. And then if that's empty, we're just going to return the joystick to neutral. Zero. So let's also make sure that the enemy moves slower than us. So as we look at this, that's exported, so that's good. So now that this can do, we'll do it 100. And then I think I still need to set up this collision shape now. Make this nice and big, something like about that big. We'll see how that does. He's coming! And then I can get out of his range and he stops coming. Beautiful. Beautiful. He's attacking me. Oh my god. I still haven't added a freaking, I still haven't added source control to this project. Oops. I'll get to that eventually. Maybe I'll do that this afternoon. Anywho. Alright, well that's one checked off, right? That counts as enemy movement, I think. The enemy did in fact move. First try. Let's see if your LLM can one-shot that one. It probably can. Probably could. Probably could like a year ago. But whatever. What else are we doing? So we're flashing, which means we need to be able to... Here's the thing, right? Oh my god, it's a sprite component. That's what it is. That's all you need to do. Oh my goodness. And then you don't even need to grab the sprite like this. You can just grab the sprite component. Eh. Well, more refactoring for me. Hello. Animated sprite component, buddy. See how you feel about that one, friend. And then we're actually going to change the type to animated. No, it's going to be Node2D. And then it's going to have that happen. That whole thing. You can close these now. And then that's going to have an animated sprite 2D. Sweeto. And then in entity, instead of doing this, what we're going to do is after ready, we're going to do sprite equals find component of type animated sprite component dot sprite or something. Actually, I don't even know if we need that. What do we use sprite for anyway? Like, do we use it for anything? Am I crazy? We just don't use this? We just have it? There's no reason to have this in here at all? Unless it's referenced elsewhere. It might be referenced in some other function somewhere. Probably shouldn't be, but, you know... No, it's just in there, man. I just put it in there because I felt like it, I guess. Sweeto. Now, we can always grab the animated sprite by looking for an animated sprite component. Because why would we just use the built-in Godot stuff when we could just make our own thing that's probably less efficient? Right? That's the story we have here. Why would we just do get node or find node / name when we could be silly about it? Anywho. So, okay, what do we want to do here? Do we want to just store the sprite on here, or do we want to add functionality to the animated sprite component? I think we're just going to add functionality here. We're going to let it be just a big... Anything you want to do to the sprite, you can do through here. I think that makes the most sense. I'm going to call this sprite instead of animated sprite 2D. So, the easy one here is going to be flash. And we're going to flash for a duration. Oh yeah, we just add a flashing, right? We add a sprite flashing component, right? That's what we do here. It's a status. The status is your flashing. This is going to bite me in the ass eventually, but when it does, it'll be hilarious. I'm just going to keep going with it, though, for now, until I start running into a problem. Yeah, because this is going to be a flag. Sprite flashing flag. And that's going to be a type flag. Wait, is that what that's called? It's not called flag component. The hell did I name this thing? Oh wait, it's not a flag anymore. It's a status. Status. Yes. There we go. Class name, sprite flashing status. And then I don't think I actually even need this. Cool. Now, how did we spawn those again? Well, we gotta change albums. We'll give Black Dresses a break for one round and hit up some Echo Jams. How's that sound? Alright, what was I doing? Alright, I'm remembering how to add and remove things. So let's look at combat. because I need to remember this shorthand too. I should probably document all these shorthand things, because I'm really adding a whole lot of stuff. So basically, I just need to instantiate that component, right? Parent, instantiate component, sprite flashing status, and then this time we're going to put the logic in the status itself rather than just using it as a flag, because this is just going to be all right. So here's the thing. Here's my conundrum. We might want to have a sprite flashing and a sprite change color at the same time. And if all we do is set sprite.color, then that's not really going to be helpful. But this does take care of deleting itself, so I think I like keeping this, but I think we just still need to add another system to animated sprite component to deal with that. I think that's going to be the power of animated sprite component. So what do I add here? I don't remember my own code. Okay, nothing, I guess. And then we just add func process, and then if duration, I'm gonna say rate. We'll just make this a const, and maybe we can make this configurable later, but it's fine if we don't. We'll flash every 0.2 seconds. That should be fine. Is that crazy? Am I doing that right? I think that's fine. How does this math work? It's a stepwise function, right? And do I have to do modulo? Maybe I have to do milliseconds? Is that 200 milliseconds? And then var duration ms is equal to int duration. What the heck? Why is it not called duration? What's it called? Time remaining. Times 1,000. And now we have the milliseconds. And now do we do... I think this is a fancy way to do the math, but I could be completely wrong. Let's do this math in a fancy way. For now, we'll just... do I need to do anything special with post ready here? Does this have a post ready? No, it does not. We just need to get a reference to the sprite components. Sprite component equals parent dot find component of type animated sprite component. Sweeto. Alright, now we have that, so we can get the sprite. So just to start with, we'll do var sprite equals sprite, and then we'll do sprite dot, I believe it was color? There's something you can do here. You can do an is it overlay? Because that's a sprite, right? Texture? Crazy. What is sprite anyway? Animated sprite 2D. Does this have an overlay or anything? I thought I knew how to do this. Apparently, I do not. That's okay. I could add a special... I mean, I can do this through shaders. That's the other option. If this doesn't have like a default color... Because this has a color on there, doesn't it? Am I crazy? Am I making up? I might have just added a shader to my last game and just forgot that I added that shader. That's possible. Huh. It doesn't have like a color overlay or anything like that to it. Alright. No worries. I can do that. So, I guess we're going to be making a flippin' shader real quick. I guess that's what we're going to be doing now. To make a dang shader. And it's going to be something like sprite. I don't know, man. We're going to make... Does this have a... This doesn't have a shader on it, does it? Like, what am I doing here? This doesn't have a shade. This doesn't have an option for shaders either. Oh, it has material. Whew! Whew! That was close. Wait, do I just... Am I crazy? No, it's not on there. Sprite.material.get shader, I think, is how you do that, and then you do something like that anyway, and you do color overlay. Overlay. Color. Yeah? I don't know. We're gonna make a dang shader. Let's hide collision boxes while we're doing this. Maybe. Gizmos. Nope. Oh, well, I guess it's just going to be blue. I don't care. I don't care enough to try and find that. I know it's in there somewhere. Alright. So we're going to make shaders. I think we're just going to have one, but just in case, we might want one in the future. A shader material. Well, this will be a slow process of remembering how shaders work. Sprite material, and then that goes on this one, and I need to do the same thing with this one. That's going to be a animated sprite component, which we're going to change the type. Oh, wow. That's very obnoxious. And then this goes under here. There we go. You don't have a material. Material. Alright. And if I mess with this material here, it's going to need a shader. Can I use a... Is it a visual... I think a regular shader should be fine. And then... Alright, here we go. So... Ugh. I will remember this. It'll come back to me eventually. I'm gonna need a new window. Please hold. Please hold. There we go. What are we gonna call this? This is the wrong page. Whoopsie. I could have just dragged that window over here. Oh well. Godot shaders. There's a website for this. I can steal a shader. Let's steal a shader. Let's steal a shader from the internet. Oh, I know. I'm a jerk. Hmm. 2D item highlight shader is probably a good start point. Yeah, we'll do this. Yep, I know. We're just gonna snag that and paste it in here. Thank you, Rain, from Godot Shaders, because we're going to use this one as a starting point, because I always need a starting point with shaders, because look at this stuff. Just look at it. Alright, so we have our flash speed, which is not exactly what we want. We actually just want a uniform for overlay color. Source color equals what? For I believe we can do an input for this, right? I'm gonna make it white. I don't need shake. I don't need hit effects. All right. That's hilarious. I don't think I need a random. We have vertex and fragment. We don't need hit effect, so we don't need vertex. Color. Okay, here we go. That's all it is, really, right? It's color equals. We're just going to add them together. Like, we're going to control the toggling from outside. So we don't need that much logic in here. Now, how do we combine colors? I believe it's... Is there something in here? Uh-huh. Mix. Mix, mix, mix. What does the mix function do? That's my next question for y'all. Godot shader mix function. Can we get some documentation, please? I wish there was documentation in here. There usually is for Godot, but not for that. Not for shaders. It's been an annoyance for me for a long time. Okay, the final value is weight. And then you can do 50%. I can do 50% weight. We'll do 50% weight. And then we're gonna just mix. We're gonna mix original color and overlay color, 50%. And that's pretty much gonna be the code. I do believe. See, now he's... Wow, that's interesting. Well, that's a special effect, isn't it? Look at that. That's not necessarily what I would expect. I'm gonna refresh. Why is it like that? We're going to leave it for now and see if I can at least toggle it from script, and then I'll figure out what's wrong with this shader later. Alright. Var shader is equal to sprite component dot sprite material as shader material. Shader.shader. Yeah, of course it's shader.shader. Set shader parameter. Okay. And then I need to figure out how to get the shader parameter. Oh, duh. That's because the original color is also exists, so it's 50% mixing the background alpha with the overlay color too. That's why it looks weird. I think that's probably why that looks weird. Anyway, can I just grab that? Is that how you do that? Is that how it works? I don't know. And then we're gonna do color white. Okay. Everyone happy? So, and this is going to be, we're going to do the magical math that I can definitely remember that I was talking about like 20 minutes ago before I got distracted by shaders. I should have done a visual shader. That would have been easier on me, but that's okay. Alright, here we go. If duration ms mod flash rate ms is equal to duration ms mod flash ms times 2. I also need to... Yeah, we'll figure out overlay color later. We're gonna do white. That's my bad. We're gonna do white, and then we're gonna do, because I gotta figure that out later. But I do want to still use that math. Let's grab that math. And then uniform bool active. I don't remember how to do this. Do I just say equals true or equals false? Are we all cool with that? Everyone happy with this? All right, that seems fine. If active. I'm gonna do that. Else color equals original color. Yeah. Shader dot set shader parameter active to true if all these things. Shoot, I got rid of that. Oh well. Duration ms mod flash rate is equal to duration mod flash rate times 2. Else false. What am I doing here? Why did I do it like that? That's... whatever. Alright. That should theoretically do it. Who on Earth knows whether or not that's going to work, but okay. Nothing's happening. Good. That's good to know. So either I have the wrong shader parameter, or this isn't happening at all, which is not true. Wait, it might be happening. It might not be happening. Print. Let's just do a sanity check. Alright, sanity check failed. We are insane. Why is that not being added? Oh, because I'm not calling this, duh. And when do I want a flash is the real question. And that comes down to the question of, do I actually want to keep entity signal component? Because if I do, instead of this, we could do on bump, or on take hit. Yeah? And then var signal component, entity signal component, and snag that from parent. And then this is the wrong place to do this. Wrong place to do this. Just pack our bags and go elsewhere. That's going to be in combat, actually, right? Am I crazy? Yes? When are we reacting to that? We're reacting to that in the animated sprite component. So instead of a flash signal, what I actually want is I can just do flash, I guess. Take hit. No, that's fine. Because we're not calling this anywhere else, right? Am I crazy? Did I not? Oh yeah, I never wired that up anywhere. That makes sense. Alright. This is okay for now. That should be wired. It is not. Does this have a signal component? I don't think so. Entity signal component. And I also, yeah, that's right. I also need to, oh, it does have one. I just need to, actually send the signal, right? Which means I need to go into here and also grab the entity signal component. And then I can use that to just emit these things. Because theoretically, they both just took a hit. Okay. Ah! At least we triggered it. Alright, what are we doing? Sprite on base null. So this is null. How? Did it process before post ready? No, that doesn't make any sense because the guy moved. This is so weird. Sprite component is null, but it wasn't null in previous frames, right? Whoa, dude. Whoa. I'm overcomplicating this so freaking much. But anyway, so we made a new sprite flashing status. Oh, right. This doesn't work yet. Because we can't do post ready in statuses. Because it's all tied into the ready the ready event chain. So we need to figure out how to get that. Well, the easy way to do that, right, is in register component, wherever that is. Oh, it just adds it immediately? That's a dumb thing to do. Ah! Ah! That's funny. Yeah, no. We're going to do add components. Or register component? We're going to do register component. Func, register components, component, void, right? And then the baseline that this is going to do is just going to append that to this. We might even add some error checking in here to like stop it from doing anything too dumb. But we can do that later if we ever run into that issue. But for now, we just need to say... Wait, can we do... Is there like an is ready? That's funny. Is node ready? When does that actually trigger? Does that trigger before on ready or after? Does it matter? I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. So if we're already ready, that means that we've already gone through and done all this stuff. Which means we can do just this. There. Now we can call post ready after... Yep. Perfect. That deals with that to do. And then I just need to call register component self. And we're happy. Are we flashing? Yay, we're flashing. We're doing something that looks kind of like flashing, and we're doing it forever, apparently. What in the hell did I do? Because it's all 50%, right? So everything is 50% opaque gray on the outside. And then some of these pixels have colors. Weird. That's funny. Yeah, I can fix that easily. That's pretty easy to fix. I don't know why it's sticking. I think that's just because my math is wrong. I think my fancy math from earlier is incorrect. I'll do equals 1. So it's only going to flash if the opacity is 1. Yay! Okay. Now, what the hell are we doing wrong with this freaking math? So, what my thought was, I'm going to print what this even says, because I don't know what this even says. Like, is this ever false? That's my first question. Because it doesn't seem like it is. No. Which is weird. Because theoretically, if this is twice as big, right? If this is 400, right? Then this could go up, this number could go up to 400. But I guess since the duration is so low, it just, oh my goodness. Now it's always false. What in the hell? Okay, whatever, we're not going to do it this way. This is not the way we're going to do it. How do I do a square wave? I don't remember. Let's look it up. sine. I feel like sine is way too... I mean, I don't know how computationally intensive sine is off the top of my head. I don't think it's that intensive. I don't know why it would be. It's just a division, right? Pretty much. I don't know. Math is hard. I really do feel like this should be working, though. Because if this is 201, then this is going to be 1, and the other one's going to be 201, and that's going to be false. And then as soon as we reach 400, then they're both going to match up again. Like, why would that not be working? Unless duration MS isn't changing? Is that the thing? Is that the problem I'm having? Does that actually coerce the type? Or something? It's always 500. Eh? Oh, duh. No. Forgot to do super process. Because this has a process. That's what the problem is. Hey, we're flashing. My math was right. God darn it. How do I confirm? How do I ensure that this is always going to be... Yeah, I just need to do this check. If time remaining is greater than 0, do this. Else, do false. Okay, we happy with that? Maybe. This will at least stop it from staying on, right? Okay, good. Whee! We have flashing! It's kind of working. I can make it more intense too if I want to, but we'll deal with that later. Now, I wanted to clean this up before I checked that off, right? Because it's a little bit whack to directly set the shader parameters in the status. Huh. Oh, is that how far the stream is behind? That's crazy. That's funny. Huh. Well, whatever. So how do we get this shader parameter to make sense in the system that we have? Because right now, it's either active or not active. I'm thinking about it. So either we have multiple layers, like hand-coded overlay color 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's an option, because then we can have active or inactive for 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then just do some math down here to combine them all. And that wouldn't be a bad idea, because then all we would need to do is basically abstract the concept of the color and activity into its own class, and then just call out to our sprite component to, hey, set this overlay to these parameters, right? Or give me an overlay layer I can use, and if I have one, if I can find one, then do that. I think that's what we do. So we're gonna do. Oops, why'd I do that? Yeah, I think Echo Jams is probably off the list, though, because it probably is super copyrighted in terms of, like, having a bunch of samples and stuff. But we'll find out. Only one way to find out. Alright. And how are we going to do it down here? So I want to do like a sum color. Or a mixed color. So I want to mix all of... The step one is mix all of the active... colors, overlay colors together. And then step two is to mix that color onto the original color if any of them were active, right? So we need to do vec for overlay color is equal to vec for sure. I gotta do some music searching for stream OK music that I actually enjoy, because this is music I actually enjoy, but I don't think it's stream OK. And I don't want to just have black dresses on at all times, because I think that's stream OK. But you know, something else would be fine too, on occasion. And I think I got dinged for macro blank the other day, so that's not okay. How am I doing this? We also need a bool, any active, false. Okay, so then we can toggle that bool, and then further on we can figure out whether we're just replacing the overlay color or mixing the overlay color. I believe that's okay to do. I think we just have to be okay with the fact that later layers just have some level of priority over earlier layers, and then we can figure out the shader later. I think I'm okay with that. Later layers just have priority. Okay. So we don't have to do this yet. We can do that later on. And then we're setting the overlay color to this, if that's true, and any active to true. And then, yeah. Also, basically, this all needs to be in an if statement anyway. So I don't have to keep checking this. I'm gonna make some arrow code, some good old-fashioned arrow code out here on these streets. Okay, so if active 1, then we set the overlay color. If active 2, then there's 2 chances. It's either any active or not. If none are active, then we can do this. And if some are active, then we just need to mix the overlay colors together. Yeah. And we're just gonna do 0.5 for all of these because heck with it. And I forgot that I'm doing this wrong, but that's fine. And then do the same thing for active 3 and 4. There. Now we have 4 layers of overlay color that we can use. And then down here, if any active, then we do one thing. Otherwise, we'll just set the color to whatever the color is supposed to be. Mix original color, overlay color, 50%. So it'll start getting really messy after like 2, but at least there'll be a spot to put them, and then we can always just throw out the, like these are all going to be visual indicators anyway, so if we ever have too many of them, we can throw them away, and if that ever becomes a problem, we can always add more layers. Alright, I think that's okay. I think that's an okay approach. A little messy, but whatever. So now we need a helper class to handle those two things, but I think that can just live in inside of the animated sprite component. What I really want to do here is and then overlay layer equals, so okay, if I register one, then I'm going to have to deregister it after, correct? So do I register these, or do I just stack them based on which one's active? I think I just stack them based on which one's active. Aha, that's what it is. Active overlay is going to be -1. That's what we do. So we do active overlay equals sprite component dot apply overlay color dot white, and that returns an active overlay. So all we really do here is set this to that. If leb, then do that, else remove overlay, active overlay. Okay. Problem: if we remove an overlay underneath, all of the indexes are going to end up shifting. So I can't just use an index for that. Right. I need to get like a legit ID. But that shouldn't be a problem, right? I can just do an ID to index map on the sprite components. That should be fine. We'll get it. We'll return an ID. Everything else is fine. Else, if active overlay is greater than or equal to 0, then we remove it. And that doesn't matter, but whatever. Are we happy with this? So we apply a white overlay from the perspective of the sprite flashing status. As long as we're alive, we apply our overlay every, you know, however many milliseconds, and then we remove it again. This is hilarious. We're just literally adding and removing nodes in order to get a flash to work. That's how componentized this all is. Love it. Totally, maybe, possibly good coding standards. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't really care. This is kind of built to be interesting to work with more than anything else. I'm following my joy. All right. My bliss. That's what the word. That's what the saying is. All right. We got to add remove overlay and apply overlay to sprite component. And we might actually do this somewhere else too, because of course. Yeah, I think we actually just will, I don't know if we need an entity signal component. I'll be completely honest. I don't know if we do. It doesn't seem like we do, because we can just do this, delete that, and go into combat, and instead of doing all of that, we can just do freaking sprite flashing status. Yeah. That seems legit to me. Okay, what was it doing? Alright, that doesn't actually parse yet, so that's why. Apply overlay and remove overlay. Color. ID, overlay, ID, int. Okay, and that actually returns int. Return -1. Okay, how do we feel about that? What? Oh, I put it up there. Okay. Sorry, grooving here. We need a private class for overlay slot. Overlay. Let's call it overlay. I don't really funk init void pass. All right, and then it's gonna have a color and a index and a ID. Yeah, might not need the index portion, but we have all three of those for now. Our overlays. We'll make this private-ish. I like how the class, the private class is just in the middle of the dang thing. Oh well. If overlays.size is greater than or equal to 4, which it should never be greater than, but whatever, then we return -1. And then we are going to we're going to pass in the index and pass in an ID. So we also need a var ID counter. We'll start with 0. That's fine. And then we're going to do ID counter plus equals 1. Var new, actually it's going to be var new overlay is equal to overlay dot new ID counter overlays dot size currently. Does this hold on to its index at all, or does the index just, I don't know, we're just going to hold on to it for now and figure out what we're going to do later. I don't have a full, throw the color in there. And then we're going to do ID. IDX color. Self.id equals ID. Self.idx equals IDX. And self.color equals color. Are you still complaining about the fact that there's freaking duplicate things? Of course. Ugh. A, B, C. I don't really care right now. I just don't want to see no yellows. All right, let's do another black dresses. Doopa 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 doo. I think I like this one a lot. I think I actually listened to this one the other day, actually. So we'll do this one instead. Maybe I did this one the other day too, who knows?
I can't see it.
We're gonna skip a few of these probably, but not that I don't absolutely adore each one of them. Alright, and then we eventually return new overlay .id. And then there we go. That pulls the index. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to store the index at all in here. And then I'm just going to... Now I do care about this, now that it's easier to do. Because, of course... Alright, and then we just get rid of this. It doesn't know what index it is, it's just going to be looked up anyway. And then we just need to unapply. Put it down here. And then we just call one generic. I don't think I need to do this either. go. And then for I, int in 4, if overlays size greater than or equal greater than I, overlay is equal to overlays at I. Okay, so I gotta grab the shader itself, so I need to do that up here. Shader. Material as shader material. Set shader parameter. Okay, here we go. And then %s, and then ampersand or something. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Overlay color. I plus 1. Active sets to that, and then we set that to true. And then we just set the active to false. Okay, so that will go through all the overlays. And it'll set the color to the overlay color of that index. It'll set the active to the active of that index. If it exists, it'll set it to true, and if it doesn't, it won't. And then now we're just applying and removing, which just adds and removes them. Do I need to free this, is the question. I don't actually know. So let's remove overlay. Overlays at KDX. Get reference count. So I think this is a ref. Yeah, it's ref counted. So as soon as we get rid of it, it should delete itself. It should queue itself free or whatever. So we shouldn't have to worry about references or whatever, right? Yeah. All right, we happy with this? What does this work? Does this still work? Nope, it doesn't. Of course not. It's not flashing at all, and it's throwing errors. The parameter Anderson never used in function anonymous lambda. Oh, index is -1. Why am I removing something at -1? Huh. I guess I mean, like, yeah, I can just do if overlay ID is -1 return. Yeah, we cool with that? I don't know why that was already happening, but at least that fixes that problem. -1. So it can't find an overlay with an ID equal to that overlay ID. Are we okay with that, or do we throw an error there? Let's see when this is happening. Is that after it freed itself, probably? Yeah, because that would be a possible double remove. And I think I just want it to be happy and just return here. And then I can even just do this if I wanted to, but keep it. Okay. Okay, now it's not throwing errors, I don't think. It's just, what's this? No, I don't need this anymore. Alright. So why is it not flashing is my next question. Does it ever get here? Never got here. Does this ever happen, I guess is what I'm trying to figure out. Doesn't seem like it does, based on the fact that nothing's happening, but maybe it does, and maybe it's just a... Yep, nope, okay. Okay, it does loop through them. Obviously, and it starts from 0. I don't know why I had to check that, but I did. And apparently overlay's size is always 0. Which seems to be the core of the issue. Uh-huh. With the best parts of you. Oh, I never add it. Duh. Duh! What I do. There we go. That should do it. Ish. Kind of. It's not... not great. Not perfect. All sorts of issues here, really. Let's start from the easy ones. There we go. That fixes this. It's not alternating, though. It doesn't seem to be alternating. Which it should be happening, right? Let me just add a log in here. Print overlay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run away from him. And then find my console again. Because I had to do this in the most obnoxious way possible. There we go. So now I can see my console in the moment. Yeah, it's just literally not being called ever. Like, remove overlay just isn't being called. Or it's not hitting this point, I should say. Oh, it's not even reaching this point. Did I not cache the overlay ID properly? No, that's fine. So after I apply the overlay, what do I get? I assume I get a number back that isn't freaking -1. Okay, it's 0 mostly. Do I have another print somewhere? Okay. It's 0, and then it was 1, then it's 2, then it's 3, then it's negative. Okay, so it's stacking. It's not actually successfully removing the dang overlays, is what's happening there, I think. Which is freaking crazy, if you ask me. Okay, so it returns the first one that returns true, which should be this one. Should be the first one. Yeah. That should be 0. It should be able to find one. So it never finds one? Am I crazy? Does it never find one? Doesn't seem to ever get to that point. It doesn't seem to, like, actually ever not be -1 in the first place, which is crazy to me. Let's see. Because, like, why would that be happening? It's always -1 here, even though it gets set to something that isn't -1. Weird. Weird. I'm gonna step through from here. How did I end up over here? What just happened? So if I go forward, it goes past everything, right? I need to add a print here. Because that's just going to skip past everything it should be anyway. And go straight down to there. Yes. So active overlay is now 0. Next time I get into this process, active overlay, that's -1. That's fine, because that's the other one. Okay, it's still 0. Time remaining is greater than 0. Duration is 64. Okay, so we're still applying it. Ah, we're double applying. We're double applying. That's what we're doing. Yes, we apply the same flash 4 times, and then the 5th time it doesn't find one, so it saves. That's what's happening. I see. I think that is just something. If active overlay is equal, why did I do that? That was weird. Then I do apply overlay that, else. Actually, I'm just going to pass this in and figure that out later. Alright, so there's an index. So why would I reapply it? Like, why would I ever reapply it? That's the problem, right? Is because I'm trying to apply it multiple times in a row. So maybe I do fix this elsewhere. Maybe I do fix this over here. One sec. Yeah, I just need to add an if. That's all it is. I just need to add an if and skip it if that's the true. If, So basically, if we don't have one, then we apply it. Otherwise, we remove it and set it as... Okay. That should actually work now. Alright, that's a single flash, but it's working. How long do we... let's see if I can do a longer, faster flash rate, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Does this look better? No. There's something else I should probably do here. I just don't know what it is yet, but 100's probably fine. Weird that that keeps happening. Okay. I'm gonna call that flashing. I overcomplicated it an adequate amount. Death. I think I'm gonna take a small break before I move on to death, but really what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna rotate the guys 90 degrees. That's really what, and maybe turn them gray, add an gray overlay to them. That should be enough. So how does that work? We'll think about that in a sec. Taking a break. Together somehow. Go get some water. I'll be right back. Okay. Wow, that's a blast from the past. I don't even remember that was there. That's hilarious. I could even put myself in that corner there if I wanted to. But I'm not gonna. I don't want to deal with that right now. Okay. Back to it. Short break, short break, short break. So I think I want rotations to be in the animated sprite component too. I think that makes the most sense. That, I don't know if I want to have a layer on it. Like, there's a couple of things we can do. As always. We can chuck a couple of Node 2Ds under here for having, like, 2 layers of possible, like, rotation and translation. This sort of thing. Or we could maintain a rotation rotation variable, which might be the best, because then animated sprite component can update its own rotation, and we could just add to or reduce from. Yeah, I think we'll do that. So let's expose a rotation float. Is going to be 0.0 to start with. And then every frame and to put it simply, all we're really going to do is set sprite.rotation. We'll make it degrees, why not? This is going to be weird, because technically this isn't clashing with anything, but also technically it is, so it could throw an error. I don't know. I can name it something different if I need to. And then when you die. So how do you die? Not all entities can die. So I guess I could do a life. So it's really a Boolean, right? You're either dead or you're not dead, right? So it's just going to be a dead status. Is there any problems with the dead status? I think that's how I was doing it in Brainless Raider way back when. It's just checking a flag on it. So I guess that's what we'll do. I don't even need to do this. One thing I want to do before that, let's actually simplify this a little bit. I'm going to add in status, I'm going to add a signal. And then in and then I don't need this anymore. There we go. Let's simplify that a little bit too. Alright. Are we cool with this? I think that's gonna work, right? Ah! It didn't work! The last few... Oh, right, because it goes back into this later. If time remaining... There. A little bit sloppier than I wanted it to be, but not too bad. Alright, and now we can use that to apply and remove death. So back into scripts. Death status. So why is that invincibility stratus? Why did I name it? Why did I name it like that? I guess we just went ahead and didn't skip any of the songs. That's fine. I'm guessing... Yeah, okay. I could just do this, and that can be my on timeout.connect on timeout. Funk on timeout. Wait, it's not gonna have a timeout. Am I crazy? I think I need an on remove, not an on timeout. Oopsie. It really doesn't matter, does it? Like, I can just do a free. There's a on. I don't know what the signal is. Up we go. There's gonna be a signal on here that we can use. I know that for sure. I guess it's gonna be tree exited. Yeah. Do we even need to register this event? Can I just throw the thing on there? Yeah, exit. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's just gonna be funk exit tree, right? And that's gonna be actually get a little arrow to it as soon as I pass here and save and compile. Yep, okay. So this is gonna be when we undeath, and this is when we death. Gotcha. We need a sprite component, sprite. just set it to 90. We're good. Done. Now we're gonna do this. Okay. I mean, it's not gonna do anything other than just rotate. Wait, I am not even adding the death status ever. I successfully muted my sneeze. How cool is that? I'm learning. He can be taught. Death status. We're adding the death status. How are we adding the death status? So there's a few... My catchphrase, there's a few ways to do it. I have catchphrase now. That makes me cool, right? For sure. Yeah, it's in combat. So when yeah, we're just reducing the health. So I almost want to like raise an event that says like check for death rather than just directly calling add death component here. Like doing the full check in here feels weird. I'm just gonna add a static function in here because we're gonna reuse this elsewhere. Check for death. Entity. Is that gonna have anything other than a stat block? I guess it'll have a stat block. I can pass the stat block in possibly. We'll let other things figure out how to acquire these objects. And then if stat block dot current HP less than or equal to 0, entity dot instantiate component death status for no amount of time. It's just gonna do it forever. It's just gonna be dead. And that's all? That's all we needed to do? Is that true? Is that all we need to do? Maybe? Oh wait, I need to actually call... I actually need to call the function that I wrote. Now, wow, I murderfied that guy, and then he just kept running. He just kept coming. Wait, is this because the death component is being removed, or is that because of some other bug? Because the death status should never be removed. What? What? Like, if I know what I'm doing right. Oh wow, we got a lot of health this time. Okay, so it's definitely being removed, I think. Yeah. So why is it being removed? Is there just a default amount of time remaining? And then when I do set duration, so it should be -1 here. Where's set duration called? Oh, it's defaulted to 1. Why is it defaulted to 1? Why isn't it defaulted to -1? Because I'm silly? Okay, he should be dead forever now. He's dead forever now. He's still animating, but he's dead forever now. Alright, there's a few other things that I can do here. So I don't know how I feel about this, but whatever. It's fine. And then I think I can also do sprite stop. I'm just going to add halted. No, I'm just gonna look for the death component elsewhere. I don't need to do anything else here. So we're gonna figure out animation itself later. Okay. There we go. They look dead. We're gonna do black instead of gray though. A few other things we need to do. We need to look for this status when we're doing our both the bump component and the chase mover component. We'll do basic mover component. I think that's fine. Oh. We'll just throw that on. Heck yeah, buddy. There. He's control locked forever, and obviously weirdly moving now. Okay, so that's actually a different status. So that's fine. I think I'm just gonna use death and use that for a different interaction. I don't need any of this anyway. Errant velocity equals 0 vector 2.0 even. So that should be all I need to do to get them to stop moving after they die. That's funny. Obviously, when they die, they also need to be removed from the targeting. That's another thing to check for. Let's see what this looks like. What the heck? Why does targeting component have an area 2D, not basic targeting component? What am I smoking over here? Oh my god. Oops. We're just going to grab all this and put it in the other one, and then we'll figure out what I need to remove later. Be right back, bathroom. Dude, talk about an epic bathroom break. Not only did I successfully use the bathroom like a big boy, but I also posted an amazing meme to one of my friends. I'm not even going to talk about it though, because it would take too much explaining. But, you know, round of applause for me. In my own head, anyway. Okay, so those are going away. That's fine. Ooh, here we go. These go into here, and I don't even need that anymore. Maybe keep this around because this is still necessary. What is this mad about? Oh, it already exists in parent? Oh, okay, that's what it's mad about. I don't care. Body entered, body exited. Okay, and I'll just see if there's any, like, I mean, I'm thinking at 1,000,000 miles an hour right now. Please hold. I'm just going to get rid of all of you. And you. Okay, we just have the signal. Do we have the signals and we have the arrays down here? Is that all we need down there? Or do I want to... Is there anything else I want to move? Can I please look at the other one? Goodness gracious. I might be weird and put those functions, some of this functionality in the base component. Thinking about it. Entity discover, because otherwise I'd have to do all of this every time. And I rather just do discover entity, other entity, and then lose entity, other entity. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah? Yeah. And then I'm going to copy this stuff in here. And then lose entity, which I definitely spelled loose entity down here rather than lose entity. The entity is loose. Why is that bad? I don't know. Probably because it's just not compiling. Dude, I don't even need to do that. Why would I? Cool. Pass other through here. I don't even need to do this either. I can just do that. That coerces the type for me. Nice. So yeah, this just is the one that has the circle on it. Okay, I've cleaned that up. I don't know what I was thinking earlier. So the other thing I need to do is check if the entity is dead, I guess, before targeting it. Yeah, I think that's a concern of this, because some other component somewhere might be targeting specifically dead entities to try and like resurrect them or something. So having a death check here makes sense. So if entity dot has component has hello entity is equal to other as entity, the entity component of type death status Yeah? Am I happy with that? Then I return, and I don't do that. Yeah? And then down here, we do it like this, and I have to coerce the type anyway. So if it's dead, we don't do that, and if it's dead, we don't do that. So theoretically, what's the... Okay, so this automatically deals with that, so I don't even need to do that. This automatically deals with the fact that that entity isn't in the list. The other thing I need to do is actually remove it from the list when it dies. That's the tricky part. That's the tricky part. That's the tricky part. So this is good, because this way it's not going to acquire a new target if the target's already dead. But if the target already exists in the list and then it dies, what I need to do is respond to that target dying. And I think I am going to add a... One way to do this is to just check it in targeting component and then add a signal that says, "Hey, this entity just died. Check your stuff." Right? And then the child component can figure out what to do with it later. Whether that is, just ignore the fact that it died or remove it from the list. Right? Oh, we can override. That can be the default behavior, and we can just override it. Yeah. I like that. So if the entity dies, then we just need to somehow call a on entity death down here, and then we can have an override function in the children that doesn't remove it. So how do I do that? I don't know. No idea. I've been thinking too much this morning. That's okay. I think I need some grooves. Groove check. Man. We'll do this one. Oh, percolating. There's a very obvious way to do this, I know. I'm just blanking on it. So I can add a signal for when an entity is, or when a component is added or removed. Like, that's the easy way, right? And then we can respond to a component being added or removed from an entity. But that feels a little whack. I can also emit a signal. Yeah, I think this is a good use for this entity signal component, right? Because then, instead of every single status raising a signal and then having to check the type of the component in the signal, it would just be an event happens, and we just have to respond to that one event. So I think I'm fine with that. So let's just do on death. Obviously, this is all wrong. Completely incorrect. Signal on died. On die. On die. And that happens forever. No, that happens here. And then I also have to grab the var entity signal component parent dot find component of time entity signal component entity signal component on die emit. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that emits the death component as soon as the death status is added to an entity. That stops me from having to call that signal anywhere else. And then in targeting component, then I just need to make sure I remember to do this. Like, this pattern's always been really annoying to me. But what am I going to do? Then on die connect on entity died. What? No, that's not correct either. Because we're not looking for our component, we're looking for the component of the entity that we have on our list. Hooey Rick. I mean, I could just do a process and just poll it. I could just poll whether or not that component still exists, and if it... I don't like that. It's probably not bad. It's probably not a bad idea, but I don't like it. Alright, how are we doing this? I'm still stuck. I have a signal on an entity that emits when it dies. So each of these entities will emit a signal when they die. So I guess I just connect. Yeah. Funk. On entity died. Entity. Entity. And then I do... And we can always override this later. But for now, all we really do is lose it. And then I can connect this. I'm gonna make it nullable here. I'm not going to be able to unbind that, am I? I'm not going to be able to unbind that because disconnect takes a specific callable. I'm gonna connect it one shot, and then I'm just gonna throw it away if I don't need it. Connect one shit. That's funny. And then I just lose the entity, and if it's not there, it's not there. I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay with that. To do this is a little funky because it will be called for any entity, even if it was lost in the past, has already been lost. There we go. That should help me out. Alright, but that should work, though. It should stop attacking me after I die, or vice versa. Well, it's not. It stops moving after it dies. Okay, now it's gonna kill me. Okay, it killed me. I died. I'm not gray for some reason. I don't think. Hard to tell. Why am I not turning gray now? Do I just... Am I lacking a component? Welcome to the issue with this approach. Am I lacking a component? Who really knows? Who honestly knows at this point? These are so tied together in so many weird ways. Okay, so I'm not turning gray when I die. Is that correct? And they are turning... The enemy's turning gray when they die. Yeah. Well, no, I turn gray when the enemy dies. That's because I need to duplicate the frickin'... I forget about that all the time. So since... What's happening here is, since we're using the same material for both, we're actually using the same shader for both. So we're passing that parameter into the same shader. Which means they both have the same shader. And they're both going to be reacting the same way. Which is fine during a bump because they're both reacting the same way anyway. But when one of them dies and the other one doesn't, it becomes a problem. So what I need to do is duplicate that, and that should be pretty simple. I just need to... They're really... sprite dot material equals sprite dot material dot duplicate, I think that'll fix it. Yep, there we go. Now I'm dead. That's a problem I've run into before. I saved myself some time there. Oh my god, I can remember how long it took me to figure that out the first time. Oh, that was awful the first time. But we got that. We're dying. We have killed a cat. I think the cats are actually going to end up running away instead of dying in the actual game, but the enemies might die. They'll probably poof later too, but we'll figure that out. Alright, we're moving on to juice. We got an hour or so of juice to add. The first thing I want to do is squish the cats. Squish the creatures. And we can say var scale, I guess? Scale? Maybe? And then in here we just do sprite.scale equals this. We'll also make it so that we actually only animate when we're moving, too, while we're at it. But we're not going to do that in this component. Just saying in general. That's the next thing we're going to do. Oh, wait, I need to add a class name before I can do this, don't I? So we have a breath component. What are we doing here? We gotta grab the funk. Post ready. See, I am slowly learning. I'm slowly learning the patterns that I made myself. It's possible. And then funk process. So we need to do this in some mathematical way so that if something changes the scale of our critter, of our entity, it stacks, I guess? I guess it's going to be stacking multiplicatively anyway. So I guess we just save our scale mults here. So we're going to sine it. We're going to get a sine and a cosine based on the delta, and then each one of those is going to be is going to control either the x or the y scale. I think that's what I want to do. Sine of... I'm just going to take the time of the game time. If I can remember how to get it. Game data? Time? How do I get the game time? We'll look it up. Time get ticks. Might have to do ticks. Yeah, whatever. We'll do it the easy way. I need to figure out what these are going to be. How do we feel about that? Alright, what numbers am I getting? What kind of numbers am I getting here? I believe X is going from 0 to 1? Are they both going from 0 to, or are they both going from +1 to -1? I think they're both going from +1 to -1. So just add 1 and divide it by 2 for both of these. And then, so this is the percent. I also want to multiply that by, or what do I want to do here? I'm going to add 1.5. Is that crazy? What am I doing here? Now it's scaled from 0 to 1, and now I want it to be scaled from 0.5 to 1. So I just need to cut it down even further. Divide it by 4. And then I can add that. I believe that should work. And I think 0.5 is way too much. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Animated sprite component. Scale equals. Times equals? This isn't super working. We're gonna have to do a stackable vector. We can make that. We can figure that out later. Why do I always do that? Alright, what are we doing? Oh, geez, it's going. I mean, not exactly what I thought would happen. I understand, though. I understand what's happening. I just need to do a couple things. A couple things I need to do. Firstly, I need to add a node 2D, and we'll call this scale. And we can put that here. And same thing here. Scale, node 2D. Scale. And then in this actual component, I need to make sure I go under scale to find this. And then I can also grab scale itself. Yep, and then this node. I mean, that looks a lot better already, although 0.5 is definitely too big. I'm going to add some constants to this until I get it to look right. Maybe. That's maybe okay. I think I want to do this a little different, actually. We're gonna do an offset. We're not gonna do this multiplicatively. We're gonna do it additively, and it's gonna be breadth scale. And then just export that as well while we're at it. So we get the regular 0 to 1 here. So this is 0 to 1. Maybe. Okay, so these are the X and Y percentages. Right. Times bar breadth offset is equal to vector 2 sine x times breadth scale x sine y times breadth scale y. Alright, how do we feel about this? So now it just offsets it larger based on the breadth. I think that's okay. Because that making it smaller would suck anyway, because that's already pixel perfect. It's not pixel perfect, but it's close to, it's double pixel perfect. I like this. Okay. And now I can just chuck that in here. Oops. And he can move a little less and breathe a little slower. Just a little slower. I like it. I like it. We have squished the cats. Let's get the walking done, and then we can figure out if we want to do a different way to do scale. I'm gonna just wait until I figure out some other reason to use scale before I actually do any sort of stacking things with scale. Sure, I'll remember that. Okay, so right now, this is just moving, right? So I just need a Boolean. I just need a... Right? Was that crazy? Am I crazy? No. Yes? Alright, a couple ways I can think of. Because I'm also debating just pulling in the basic mover component. Yeah, I'm just gonna use a Boolean. That way I can choose in the actual mover whether or not to change the animation. So in here, we're gonna do func post ready. Find component of type, and yeah, maybe sprite component. Eventually, we can also add a scale, like a rate here, so we can change the rate of animation. But I don't think I care to do that right now. Length squared is less than, I don't know, 0.1. Greater than 0.1, I mean. I'm also going to do that. So now we should... Okay. That's very funny. I'll figure that out in a second. Calculated index is out of bounds. Oh. No, we're not checking that. Oops. Or the has the team. If the team's is empty, or the has the team, and current targets has entity. There we go. I think I misread that earlier. That'll fix that error, but I don't know. It's not stopping the animation when I'm not moving. Oh, right, duh. I'm not doing anything with that yet. Duh. I need to do sprite.animation. What's the... I guess I just set the speed scale, huh? There we go. So now it only moves when it's moving. And when we take damage. Awesome. Beautiful. Beautiful. That does work. Oh, I can still attack. I can still bump it. I need to get rid of the bump animate the bump stuff if you're dead. Bump. Bump needs to heat death. Or other has component of type. Death status. So now we can't bump after death. I need to, like, actually somehow be the one that kills them. There we go. I can still attack it. Oh, it's because of that. It's because of that. Let's make this a little bit more readable, eh? I don't know. There we go. So if anybody anywhere is dead in this interaction, then the bumps stop happening. Good. Now he's just there. He's just hanging out on the ground. And I can take him with me because this glitch still happens. Cool. Gotta figure that out eventually. I'm gonna just add a little... Okay, I need to stop bleeding when I'm... or stop breathing when I'm dead. Firstly. Because obviously I didn't think that through at all. Cool. Should we do a little bit of screen shake? Yeah, we'll be a little sloppy with the screen shake. Screen shake. No, I'm skipping screen shake. I don't need that. This isn't that kind of game. We'll add other juice later. I'm not sure what to do next though. So let's poke around a little bit and see if we can find any bugs. I want stats that actually matter. Friend or foe component, maybe? Multiple cats. We're not going to do a friend or foe component. Maybe multiple cats. Probably some sort of wander component. I'm not sure if any of these are going to be done yet tomorrow. I'm just trying to brainstorm what all needs to be done. Because we're getting pretty close. Let me try to fix this. Let's just focus on fixing this for the rest of the day, yeah? So I believe what's happening is somehow my collision box is clipping inside of their collision box. Oh, right, and because their collision box is a little bit underneath. Aha. That's the problem. I think I can fix that in 3 seconds. Promise you'll be okay if I'm not your friend. So, like, I am technically below them still, so I don't know why they would be getting pushed into me. But I think they are getting pushed into me. Oh my god. I need to fix combat so bad. Okay. So I can hook in here if I just bump into it right. Which is so weird, because he shouldn't be getting dragged around, right? Am I crazy? So it's clearly when I push into it. I don't know why it's getting... There's no reason for it to be dragged around. I can think of. No easy reason. But I think... If my gut is correct, then... our collision shape here can be just a little smaller, and that should maybe fix it. Should maybe. I just need to, have a situation where I actually kill him first. There we go. It's still doing it. It's so weird. Okay, so that's not the problem. I think it's my math. So, like, if I get rid of the bump, right? If I get rid of the bump away portion of the combat... So let's do that. Does that fix the issue, or is it still there? That's the question. Yeah, it's still there. So it's got nothing to do with my math, and everything to do with the two entities just getting attached to each other for no reason. I mean, the easy thing to do, I guess, there's a couple easy solutions here. I think this is an engine bug. And there's a few solutions. I need to, during a collision, I think I want to move both entities along their bump force vector a little bit, just to make sure they're not colliding, they're not actively still inside of each other. And then I think when an entity dies, I just need to remove the collider. So let's start with the first one, because I think this is going to solve a lot. Or no, let's start with the second one. We need to add a new component. Collision component. Right? Does that still, hold on a second. Change type to node 2D. Put that under there. Okay, it's mad. It doesn't like that. But that's okay. That's okay. We can add a script to this. And then this should be okay to do. What? I don't think I need this. I don't think this is a good idea at all. That's not going to work. For various reasons, that's not going to work. So what do I do? I just accept the fact that the entity itself has a collision shape. And I put in a collision shape. Because every entity is going to have a collision shape. Yeah, that much I can say for sure. Even a treasure chest is going to have a collision shape. So I can have a disable collision thing in here or something. Hell, I can probably even... Is there a way to disable collisions just across the board without having to go in and... What's this do? I wonder. So let's try reducing this number and see if that's just enough on its own. Yes. That's better. I don't know why that would have fixed it, necessarily. Oh, it's because it's getting... that's so weird. I'll do this much. That might be acceptable. That might be enough to avoid the weird people getting stuck in each other thing. Cool. Good enough. I'll call that fixed for now and figure it out later. I'll do the same thing over here. Make sure collisions still even work. Oh, I still got him. That's so weird. I don't know why that would happen. I don't think I need to teleport them because I think that actually does work. But this is fine. It might come back, it might not. I still want to get rid of the collision. Alright, here we go. Disable mode. Defines the behavior physics when process mode is set to process mode disabled. See, the process mode has a lot of baggage to it, though. Oh, I can disable the collision shape itself. Okay. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not do that? Okay, let me set it back. That should work. Now I can just move right through them, right? No, I can't. I've disabled the collision shape, but it still doesn't matter. This property should be set with set deferred. We'll try it. See if that fixes it. Yay! Woo! I also want to set the z-index. I need to reduce the z-index a little bit. Which is this one. Why can't I set the z-index of this? Oh, right. Sprite.z-index minus equals 1. And then that should be enough. Hopefully it doesn't put them right under the floor, because that would be dumb. Oh my god, of course. Everyone's z-index is wrong now. We're all got the wrong dang z-index. We're going to be z-index 10. 10 should be plenty. Now he's under the floor. All right, and then I'm just gonna set it. I'm just gonna set it to 5, and then set it back to 10, so that the health bar component. If I can open this up, because this should have a z-index of like, I don't know. This should be 5. I'm going to put that at 5, and I'm going to put the enemy at 1 when it's on the ground, and all the ground itself is going to be at 0. All good, all good. Back to the scene. Grab this. Not that. Grab this. Z-index 10. Yeah. Duh. This one. Z-index 1. And then I actually want the bars to be above everything else, so I'm going to put this at like, I don't know, 20. That's the UI layer. Sweet. Okay, it falls into the object layer, right? When it's down, and then it goes. Yeah, the UI layer is above everything. Okay, everybody's happy now. Things look good. I do want to do stats that actually matter. Probably want to add some damage numbers. That way we can tell what's even happening when we're bumping. Do some multiple cats so we can see the difference in stats. Maybe a wander component so we can start thinking about making a level. And then down the line, put a question mark down the line. I want to add some do level transitions. We'll do random mazes. We'll start with that. I can grab that from an old project. Yeah, and then we'll be able to put a little. We can use this as our like hub area to start with while we're testing, and then we can add a little transition zone over here. This can be our staircase down into the dungeon over here, or something like that, and then we can just do that. Yeah. So, I think I've reached more or less enough work for today. I'm gonna put this freaking thing in Git so that my computer doesn't explode and I lose all my progress. That would suck. But I think we got some progress. We got some basic combat. Only one we should celebrate by adding a whole bunch of dudes, because that's what everyone loves to do. Everyone loves a bunch of dudes. I'm just gonna. Should I just make this a prefab? Should I make all of this a prefab? What should and shouldn't I make a prefab? I don't know. I don't really care right now. We're gonna just move this to, this is gonna be a prefab. Enemies. And then this is gonna be ogre. And ogre goes in, enemies, save. Duplicate, 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 duplicate. Oh my god, so many ogres. Many ogres. Can I get past all those ogres? Let's see. Without any, I mean, I can just slowly deconstruct them, I guess. Ah! Ah! Oh, they're bumping into each other too. I need to fix that. That's something fun. Yeah. But yeah, they're still bumping into each other. That's weird. Friend or foe, right? Because of that. How does the targeting do it? I think I can fix this real quick. While we're here. I like these. Oh, it's like a bunch of ogres are just running around wild. It's funny. Makes me giggle. Alright, I need to go into the ogre because he's the only one with the targeting component. This is fine. Acceptable enemy teams, basic targeting component. I do need a friend or foe component. I do want a friend or foe component. That'll be the first thing we do tomorrow. That way we can basically use the same thing for both targeting and bumping to check for teams. So we can just check our team and check all the enemy teams that we just basically will ask for the friend or foe component, ask for all the enemy teams that we have, and then go about it that way. Sounds good. I can probably do that before noon, but I don't feel like it. We're checking out for today. I'm heading out. Peace.